It was Saturday morning, and we see Lincoln getting his clothes on for the day and ready for another day of relaxation before the big court date tomorrow to put the family away. Lincoln took a deep breath and looked at the mirror. Okay, Lincoln, today is the day. Lucy gets released from the hospital. All we have to do is just keep her company and to not hurt herself, Lincoln told himself. Lincoln then went downstairs and sees Harley making pancakes. Ivy was on the phone, and Luna was feeding Lily her baby food. Harley sees Lincoln and smiles. Morning, Lincoln. I made pancakes, Harley said. Lincoln smiled. Thanks, Harley. Lincoln then took a bite of his pancakes and was amazed. Wow, these are really good. Where did you learn how to make them? Lincoln asked. Harley smiled. When it comes to baking, I know what to do, Harley said. Oh my God, Ivy screamed. Everyone looked at Ivy on the phone, looking pissed off. Nobody cares. Now listen, if you ever call this number again, I will not hesitate to rid a word out of your sorry little ass, Ivy said, then slammed their phone and sat down, ticked off. Everyone looked at Ivy with concern. Dude, what was that all about? Luna asked. Ivy sighed. That girl Selena Williams wants to ban cartoons and The Simpsons, Ivy said. Lincoln and Luna looked confused. Why The Simpsons? They both asked. She hates that show as lasts for 30 years and makes people cosplay them on TikTok, Ivy explained. Harley looked at Ivy. There's nothing wrong with watching cartoons and cosplaying. It's normal, unless you cosplay as the president who hates people and even disabled people. You probably know what I'm talking about, Harley said. Luna then smirks. How much do you want to bet that Selena lady dresses up like Annoying Orange? Luna joked. Everyone laughed at that. Yeah, glad he's not our president anymore. Good riddance, Ivy said. Then she got up to make herself some coffee. When I pick up Lucy from the hospital later today, we'll have to keep sharp objects away from her, and even other things away from her. Harley then noticed. We know what to do, Ives, and don't worry, I'll keep an eye on the kids, Harley said. Then there was a knock at the door, and everyone was confused. Are we expecting anyone, dudes? Luna asked. Probably Jordan. She did say she was going to come by and see how I'm doing today, Lincoln said as she got up and went to the door, and when he opens it, he was surprised to see it was Ronnie Ann and Bobby. Lincoln was surprised. Bobby? Ronnie Ann? Lincoln said in shock. I was with them along with Mama Maria and Ronnie Ann's best friend, Sid Chang. Bobby looked like he was crying while Maria was silent, and Ronnie Ann and Sid were concerned. Hey, Link, Ronnie Ann greeted. Harley and Ivy, along with Luna, saw them, and Luna was shocked. Who the hell are they? Ivy asked. Lincoln then looked at Ivy. This is Ronnie Ann and her brother Bobby. Her mom is Santiago, and I don't even know your name, Lincoln said to Sid. Sid then held her hand out. Name's Sid Chang. I am Ronnie Ann's best friend, Sid greeted. Lincoln then shook her hand, and Harley smiled. So this is Ronnie Ann girl you told me about that time. I didn't know you were a ladies' man, Harley teased. Lincoln blushed as he looked at Ronnie Ann. So, what are you guys doing here? Lincoln asked. We're just here to see what the heck happened to Lamo. Why was your family being arrested? Ronnie Ann asked worriedly. Ivy, Harley, Luna, and Lincoln looked away and at each other with concerns, and Lincoln then looked at Ronnie Ann and her family. I think you all need to come inside and sit down for this, Lincoln said. Ronnie Ann, Sid, Bobby, and Maria went inside, and Lincoln, Luna, Harley, and Ivy told them about what happened to them, and why they were all surprised and shocked to hear about it. Bobby then cried, This can't be true. I couldn't have been Lori, Bobby said. Luna sighed. Sorry, Bobby, but she was involved in this, Luna said. Ronnie Ann was super pissed off. When I get my hands on Lynn, she's going to be sorry, Ronnie Ann said angrily. Sid cracked her knuckles. Count on me, on that, Ronnie Ann, Sid said. Maria didn't say anything. Then she looks at Harley and Ivy. Thanks for taking care of these children and helping them, Maria said. Harley and Ivy smiled. We just couldn't believe on them on the streets, and we had to do something, Ivy said. I am just glad you're nothing like those McBrides that we confronted yesterday, Harley said. Maria then looked at Ronnie Ann and then at Bobby. I am going to pick up Lucy. I'd expect you two to be on your best behavior, Maria said. Then she and Ivy left to go get Lucy. Bobby then got up and walked towards the door. Sorry, I just need a moment, Bobby said as he walked out of the door. Harley then grabbed Lily. I'm going to be outside spending some time with this little one, Harley said and rubbed Lily's head, making her giggle. Then she looked at Lincoln, Ronnie Ann, and Sid and smirked. And they have fun with your girlfriend, Lincoln, Harley teased. I'm not he's girlfriend, Lincoln and Ronnie Ann said in embarrassment, and Sid and Luna laughed it all. Luna then got up. I'm probably gonna call Sam and see how she's doing, Luna said, and then she walked off. Lincoln then looked at Ronnie Ann and Sid. So, do you girls want to play some games? Like video games? Lincoln asked. Ronnie Ann and Sid smiled and nodded their heads as they haven't played some video games and read some comics and even watched some TV. Ronnie Ann then sees Lincoln's old house from the window and growled, I hope Lynn goes to juvenile because sometimes she's a total baby, Ronnie Ann thought. Then Sid then looked at Lincoln. Hey Lincoln, can we see your room? Sid asked. Lincoln looked at Sid. Sure, I don't see why not. Lincoln looked at Ronnie Ann and said, Sorry about the room, there's only 4 rooms, so me and Luna are sharing a room, but I don't really mind, Lincoln then said. Ronnie Ann then looked at Lincoln in shock. What are you talking about, lame-o? This room is amazing, Ronnie Ann complimented. Lincoln then smiled. Thanks, Ronnie Ann, although some of this stuff seems a bit too much, said Lincoln. Sid then saw something behind the doorframe and smirked. Oh, you mean like this? Sid then revealed a poster of a bikini bottom behind the doorframe. Lincoln then blushed in tomato red, and Ronnie Ann smirked as well. Well, Lincoln, I didn't know you were into that kind of stuff, Ronnie Ann teased. Well, Lincoln tried to block the poster. That's not mine, it belongs to Luna, remember? I'm sharing a bedroom with her, Lincoln said nervously. Sure it is, Ronnie Ann and Sid teased. But of course, Lincoln was super red. Then another knock came from downstairs, and Lincoln opened the door and saw Jordan was behind the door. Lincoln smiled. Hey Jordan, glad you can make it, Lincoln said. Jordan hugged Lincoln. Well, I had to see how you were doing, Lincoln, and then she let Jordan inside the house, and Jordan saw Ronnie Ann and Sid. Ronnie Ann, Jordan said in shock. Girl Jordan, Ronnie Ann said in shock as well. Jordan then walked up to Ronnie Ann. I didn't know you were going to be here today, Jordan said. Ronnie Ann then looked at Jordan. Neither did I, Ronnie Ann said. Lincoln sighed. This is going to be an interesting day, Lincoln said, as he closed the door, and then the door knocked again. Everyone was confused. Who's knocking on the door this time? Sid asked, confused. Lincoln opened up the door and saw Clyde and his dads, and Lincoln was not happy about them. What are you three doing here, and how did you know where I'm staying? Lincoln asked. Howard then spoke. We were following that girl with brown braided hair, Howard said nervously. Jordan then looked at the McBrides in annoyance. You were following me? Is that how we even get for Clyde? Jordan said. Clyde then looked at Lincoln. Look, Lincoln, can we please come in? Clyde said. Lincoln looked so annoyed. No, get away from here, Lincoln said. Lincoln was about to close the door, but Harold stopped it. Look, we just need to see if this house is safe, Harold said. Then the McBrides walked in and then looked around inside the house. Lincoln and Jordan, Ronnie Ann, and Sid followed them. Luna had finished with her call with Sam to see the McBrides walk in. Oh boy, there's no way this is gonna end well, Luna said, then went to Harley. The McBrides went to Lincoln and Luna's room and then looked around to see if anything dangerous. Lincoln, Jordan, Ronnie Ann, and Sid saw that they were searching for the room and got annoyed. Ronnie Ann then spoke. I'm only gonna say this once, and kindly, would you please leave and stop going through their stuff? Ronnie Ann said. Howard was still looking for the room. There must be something here that could be bad, Howard said. Then he sees a poster far behind from the doorframe and gasped. Children should not have to see this, Howard said. Howard was about to take the poster down, but Lincoln got in his way. Hey, don't touch that! Leave it alone, Lincoln said. Harold then sees Luna's bed an inch away. This bed is way too far. Luna could easily fall off, Harold said. Lincoln and Jordan and Ronnie Ann and Sid were starting to get annoyed. Okay, these guys are starting to get on my nerves, Sid said. The McBrides then went to Lucy's room and saw some Princess Pony books and My Little Pony posters with her bed and plush toys on it. Harold then looked at the plush toys. These plush toys could have money in that they stolen them, Harold said. But then as he and Howard were moving away the plush toys, then Lincoln and Ronnie Ann got there. "Hey, stop, what is the matter with you two?" Ronnie Ann yelled. Lincoln then spoke. "These are for Lucy. She just can't keep them for herself, so we brought some plushies to make her feel comfortable," Lincoln explained. Howard and Harold looked at each other with worry, then back at Lincoln. "But Lincoln, these plush toys could have cash. These criminals could have stolen or smuggled even certain things," Howard said. But Harold nodded his head. "Exactly. All this stuff could be make turn, all evil as well," Harold said. Jordan then spoke. "Exactly. Now, how would you Princess Pony books and My Little Pony merch would turn a little kid evil?" Jordan asked. Clyde then walked up to Lincoln. "Lincoln, we are just trying to help you get these women are criminals, and they're not safe for you, Luna, Lily, or Lucy to stay here," Clyde explained. Then Lincoln had enough. "Clyde, I don't need your help, so get out of here and leave me alone." Lincoln then yelled at Clyde, and his dads were in shock, and they were about to say something to them, but then Harley came in. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" Everyone turned their heads to see Harley with a bat in her hands, and Luna with Lily in her arms. Howard and Harold then walked up to Harley. "Everything here is not safe for these kids. Luna's bed is 1 inch far from the wall, and she could fall and hurt herself," Harold said. Harley then looked at them in disbelief. "How could she fall off 1 inch away from the wall?" Harley asked. Howard then spoke. "There's a poster half of this woman, and look, in Lincoln and Luna's room, this is bad parenting," Howard said. Harley then shook her head. "Me, Ivy, and Luna got him off of our minds, and what happened of him was because of what he does now does at night, because we know it," Harley then said, making Lincoln feel embarrassed and Jordan blush. But Harold then spoke again. "And these plush toys could have stolen cash in them, or worse," Harold then said. Howard then nodded. "Yeah, and all these posters could probably turn a kid evil," Howard said. Harley then looked at the McBrides in confusion, and then turned to anger. "Okay, that's it. I'm giving you to a count of 5 to get out of my house. Then I'm coming after you with my bat," Harley threatened. The McBrides then started to get worried. Dads, I think it's time to go," Clyde said, leading his dads away out of the house. Harley then started counting. 1, 2, 5. Harley then chased the McBrides out of the house screaming, "If I ever see you free near my house again, I'm calling the cops," Harley threatened. Then Ivy and Harles then came into the parking lot, and Maria and Ivy walked out and looked at Harley, who was looking mad. "Harles, what the hell happened?" Ivy asked. Harley then looked at Ivy and calmed down. "Those McBrides from yesterday came here and went through our house," Harley explained. Ivy rolled her eyes. "Oh, God, effing damn it," Ivy said. And then Lucy walked out of the car as she was shaking and sees Lincoln walking up to her and giving her a hug, which Lucy hugged back. Lincoln broke the hug. It's good to see you again, Lucy," Lincoln said. Lucy then smiled. "It's good to see you too, big brother," Lucy then said, then walked inside and showed Lucy her new room. Later at night, after Ronnie Ann and Sid left, they were going to stay at the hotel, since the court case was tomorrow, and Harley was looking at Lincoln in Luna's arms, and sees him asleep as she does the same for Lucy, and then she looked like she cried herself to sleep, so Harley tucked her in and kissed her forehead, and then walked out of Lucy's room. Harley then sees Ivy walking out of Lily's room, and then got her to put to sleep. Then they went to the bedroom and put on nightgowns and got to bed. Ivy then looked at Harley. "This is it, Harles. Tomorrow's the court date," Ivy said. Harley sighed. "Yeah, tomorrow, and we're gonna put those people away for good." Harley sensed in anger, then looked down. Ivy seizes and puts a hand on her shoulder. "Harles, what's wrong?" Ivy asked, concerned. Ivy sighed and looked at Harley. "I'm just wondering how Lincoln, Luna, and Lucy would react to what we have planned," Harley said. Ivy nodded her head. "I'm thinking of the same thing too, Harles, but what's important is that we keep them safe, right?" Ivy said. Harley then smiled. Yeah, you're right. That is what matters. Harley then turned off the light as she and Ivy shared a kiss. Goodnight, Ives, Harley said. Ivy smiled. Goodnight, Harles, Ivy said. Then they both turned off their sides, and Harley took a deep breath, closed her eyes. Tomorrow I will end all, and the kids will be one for a major surprise, Harley thought to herself as she went to sleep.